The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets overhead as Elena Vargas crossed the threshold of the metal detector at LAX, her heels clicking a defiant rhythm on the scuffed linoleum. A shrill beep pierced the air, freezing her mid-stride, and the world narrowed to the stern face of the TSA officer barking, "Ma'am, step over here, secondary screening." But it wasn't the wand's cold probe against her skin that cracked her open. It was the moment her carry-on zipper rasped wide, spilling a velvet pouch onto the conveyor belt, and inside gleamed a silver locket etched with two intertwined hearts, unlocking a truth that would shatter the fragile peace she'd built across 3,000 miles of regret. Elena had always known airports were portals to reinvention, places where you shed one skin and slipped into another like a thief in the night. Born Elias in the dusty sprawl of Albuquerque, she'd fought her way through the arid summers of New Mexico high school hallways lined with lockers that whispered slurs, emerging as Elena in the rain-slicked streets of Seattle, where the tech boom masked 1,000 quiet transitions. Now, at 32, she was headed back to LA for the first time in years. Not for glamour or gridlock, but for him. Ryan. The name alone tasted like salt on her tongue, a wound she'd cauterized with distance and denial. Their story wasn't one of star-crossed lovers under Hollywood signs. It was forged in the backrooms of a queer youth center in Echo Park, where Ryan's easy laugh had pulled her from the shadows like a lifeline tossed into a storm. She remembered the first time she'd seen him. 22, all lean muscle and faded band tees, facilitating a support group for gay teens navigating the minefield of coming out in conservative families. Elena, still half in her old skin then, had hovered at the door, pulse hammering, until Ryan's green eyes locked on hers and he said, "Hey stranger, grab a seat. We've got cookies that taste like freedom." That night, over stale Oreos and stories of basement hideouts, they'd bonded over shared scars. His from a father who wielded Bible verses like fists, hers from mirrors that lied every morning. What started as late-night texts evolved into stolen weekends. Hikes in the Hollywood Hills where they'd trace constellations and dreams, his hand warm in hers, whispering promises that felt eternal under the smog-veiled stars. But eternity has a way of crumbling under the weight of secrets. Ryan had his own ghosts. A twin brother, Alex, the golden boy who'd stayed closeted, married to ambition in a Wall Street firm back east. Alex, with his sharp jaw and sharper suits, had always orbited Ryan's life like a jealous moon, pulling tides of resentment. Elena sensed it early, the way Alex's calls would sour Ryan's mood, turning their cozy Silver Lake apartment into a battlefield of unspoken accusations. "He's just stressed," Ryan would mutter, but Elena knew better. She'd seen the emails, the late-night voicemails laced with pleas that bordered on possession. "You're wasting your life out there, bro. Come home where you belong, with family, with me." The locket in her bag wasn't just jewelry. It was a relic from that unraveling. Ryan had given it to her on their second anniversary, a custom piece from a jeweler in West Hollywood, engraved inside with two hearts, one beat, R and E. She'd tucked away the photo within. A candid shot of them at Santa Monica Pier, Ferris wheel lights blurring behind, his arms slung around her shoulders, both laughing like the world couldn't touch them. But 6 months ago, the world had crashed in. Alex had shown up unannounced, all East Coast polish and veiled threats, cornering Elena in the kitchen while Ryan stepped out for coffee. "You think you're saving him? You're dragging him down, turning him into some freak show version of himself." His words had sliced deep, echoing the doubts she'd buried since her transition. When Ryan returned, the air crackled with tension, and by dawn, Elena was packing, convinced her love was a chain, not a bridge. She'd fled to Seattle, rebuilding in the emerald haze of the Pacific Northwest. A barista job at a queer-owned cafe, therapy sessions that peeled back layers like onion skins, a tentative circle of friends who called her queen without irony. Yet Ryan haunted her. Postcards from LA sunsets, voicemails that cracked with, "I miss your fire, L." And then, 2 weeks ago, the call that yanked her back. The one from Alex, voice hollow over the line. "Ryan's gone. Car accident on the 101. He asked for you at the end." Lies, she told herself later, but grief is a blindfold, and she'd booked the first flight south, the locket her talisman against the void. Now, as the officer's gloved hands rifled through her bag, Elena's breath hitched. The pouch tumbled open, the locket skittering across the X-ray table like a fleeing heartbeat. "What's this?" the officer grunted, snapping it open with casual indifference. The photo fluttered free, landing face up under the harsh glare. Ryan and Elena, frozen in joy. But it was the note taped to the back that made the woman's eyes widen. The one Ryan had slipped inside before she left, in his looping scrawl. "If I ever lose you, find this. It holds my soul." And Alex knows. Everything. The security line ground to a halt, travelers craning necks like vultures. Whispers rippled. "Is that? Oh my God, she's trans?" Elena felt the stares like pinpricks, but she stood tall, chin lifted, the fire Ryan had always loved flickering back to life. The officer cleared his throat, suddenly awkward. "Ma'am, this looks personal. You got any ID on you? We might need to." "Call it off." A voice cut through, smooth as bourbon and edged with authority. Heads turned as a man in a rumpled trench coat pushed forward, mid-40s, salt and pepper hair, eyes like storm clouds. Detective Marcus Hale, LAPD, badge glinting under the lights. He'd been trailing a lead on a missing persons case when the alert pinged his radio. Suspicious item at gate 47. But seeing Elena, the locket, the photo, it clicked. Ryan's accident hadn't been an accident. Forensics had flagged brake tampering, and Alex was the prime suspect, his alibi as thin as his denials. Marcus had met Ryan once, years back, at a Pride Rally fundraiser. The kid had that rare spark, unafraid, alive. And now, staring at Elena, Marcus saw echoes of it in her unyielding gaze. "This woman's not a threat," he said, flashing his badge to the stunned team. "She's family. And that locket? It's evidence in an open homicide." The word homicide detonated like a grenade. Gasps echoed. A child whimpered. Elena's knees buckled, but Marcus caught her elbow, steadying her with a grip that said he'd seen too many falls to let this one happen. "Ryan?" she whispered, the name a plea. He nodded grimly. "Not gone, Elena. Hidden. In witness protection. Testifying against a ring of corporate fraud his brother was neck-deep in." Alex tried to silence him. "That note? Ryan planted it for you in case." Tears blurred the terminal's chaos into a watercolor smear. Elena clutched the locket, its weight now a promise instead of a grave. Ryan alive, betrayed by blood, but fighting back with the love they'd forged in stolen moments. As Marcus guided her through the side exit, away from prying eyes, she glimpsed her reflection in a gate window. Not broken, but remade, ready to reclaim what Alex had tried to steal. Outside, the LA sun baked the tarmac, mirages dancing on the horizon. Marcus slid into the driver's seat of his unmarked sedan, Elena buckling in beside him. "He left a message," the detective said, handing her a burner phone. Her fingers trembled as she pressed play. Ryan's voice, ragged but resolute. "Elle, if you're hearing this, I'm sorry for the silence. Alex found out about us, about everything. He thinks he can control me, but he can't control this." A pause, then softer. "Come find me. We're unfinished, you and I. The stars are waiting." The drive to the safe house blurred into a montage of freeways and palm silhouettes, Elena's mind replaying their history like a scratched vinyl. They'd met properly at that youth center, but their real spark ignited at a dive bar in WeHo, where Ryan had bought her a gin and tonic and confessed, "I don't date labels, I date souls." In him, she'd found not just acceptance, but adoration. The way he'd trace her hormone-softened curves with reverence, murmuring poetry from Ginsberg between kisses that tasted like rebellion. Their love was a quiet revolution. Picnics in Griffith Park where they'd debate queer icons over prosciutto sandwiches. Nights tangled in sheets scented with eucalyptus, building a life brick by defiant brick. Yet Alex loomed like a shadow puppet master. Ryan's twin, but worlds apart. Alex the climber, schmoozing venture capitalists while Ryan volunteered at shelters, handing out hygiene kits to trans kids on the run. The betrayal simmered slow. First, Alex poaching Ryan's job leads, then gaslighting him into doubt. "You're throwing it away for her?" He'd sneered once. Drunk on scotch at a family dinner Elena had crashed. Ryan had defended her, fists clenched, but the seed was planted. When Alex uncovered Ryan's role in whistleblowing on his firm's Ponzi scheme, embezzling from LGBTQ plus nonprofits, of all ironies, the threats escalated. A slashed tire here, an anonymous tip to Elena's old job there. The accident was meant to end it, but Ryan had anticipated, vanishing with U.S. Marshals into the Witness Protection Program, leaving breadcrumbs only Elena would follow. The safe house was a nondescript bungalow in the valley, stucco walls baking under oleanders. Marcus parked in the alley, scanning for tails. "He's inside. Go easy, he's been through hell." Elena nodded, heart a war drum as she stepped onto the porch. The door creaked open before she knocked. And there he was. Ryan, thinner, shadows under his eyes, but that smile, God, that smile, breaking like dawn. "Elena," he breathed, pulling her into an embrace that smelled of salt and safety. No words at first, just the press of bodies, the locket caught between them like a vow renewed. When they pulled apart, his fingers brushed her cheek, tracing the line of her jaw as if memorizing it anew. "I thought I'd lost you forever." "You almost did," she said, voice thick. "Alex," he called, "said you were dead." Ryan's face darkened, the betrayal etching lines she'd never seen. He tried. "Brakes cut on Mulholland. But I saw it coming, his eyes always too hungry. The fraud was his baby, siphoning funds meant for kids like us. When I found the ledgers, he panicked." He led her inside, to a kitchen bathed in late afternoon gold, where coffee steamed on the counter. They sat, knees touching, unraveling the months apart like tangled yarn. She told him of Seattle's Grey Graces, the bar where she'd slinging lattes to drag queens, the tattoo of their initials she'd inked on her wrist as armor. He spoke of the program's isolation, aliases like Ethan, safe houses that felt like cages, nightmares where Alex's face morphed into their father's, both preaching erasure. "I betrayed you by not telling you sooner," Ryan admitted, eyes glistening. "Thought I could protect you by keeping distance. But it was cowardice. You deserved the truth." "No," Elena countered, fierce. "We both did. Love isn't a solo act, Ryan. It's the mess. The fights over takeout, the way you hog the blankets, the mornings we wake up and choose each other anyway." She opened the locket, the photo gazing back like a talisman. This is us. Unbreakable." As dusk crept in, painting the room lavender, they moved to the couch, bodies aligning like puzzle pieces long separated. No rush, no desperation, just the slow reclaiming of space. His head on her shoulder, her fingers carting through his hair, stories flowing like wine. He laughed about the marshal who'd mistaken his coming-out tale for a cover story. She confessed the drag name she'd adopted for fun, Vera Verve, and how it felt like shedding one more layer of fear. In those hours, the world outside, the fraud trials looming, Alex's inevitable arrest, faded to static. Here, in this borrowed home, they were simply Elena and Ryan, two souls who'd navigated transitions of body and heart, emerging whole. But peace is fleeting in stories like theirs. A knock shattered the reverie. Marcus, face grim, phone in hand. "Feds just raided Alex's office. He's rabbiting, but he left a message for Ryan. On your old voicemail." Ryan's jaw tightened as he listened. Speaker on. Alex's voice, oily and fractured. "Brother, you think you can bury me? I know about her, the freak you chose over blood. If you testify, I'll make sure everyone sees the truth. Your little fairy tale ends in flames." The threat hung heavy, a serpent in Eden. Elena's hand found Ryan's, squeezing. "He doesn't get to define us," she said. "Not anymore." Ryan nodded, fire reigniting in his gaze, the same spark that had drawn her in all those years ago. "Then we fight. Together." The next morning dawned crisp, the valley air carrying hints of jasmine and exhaust, a quintessentially Californian blend that Elena inhaled like a battle cry. Ryan had barely slept, pacing the bungalow's creaky floors until she'd pulled him back to bed, their limbs entwined in a silent pact against the dawn. Now, over black coffee and toast charred at the edges, they plotted with Marcus around the scarred oak table. Maps of LA's underbelly spread like a gambler's hand, pins marking Alex's haunts. The high-rise condo in Century City, the speakeasy in Koreatown where he'd cut deals under velvet ropes. "You're not going alone," Elena insisted, tracing a route with her finger. Ryan shot her a look, half adoration, half exasperation. This is my mess. Alex is my blood. If anyone's facing that demon, it's me." But she shook her head, curls bouncing. "Blood doesn't excuse betrayal. He came after me first, remember? Whispered poison in my ear like I was the villain in your story. No, this is ours." Marcus leaned back, nursing his mug, his detective cynicism softened by their resolve. A veteran of too many queer bashings masked as domestic disputes. He'd seen love weaponized before. "Kid's got a point," he grunted to Ryan. "Alex isn't playing fair. Neither should you. Elena's got street smarts. Hell, she clocked that tail on you last year before I did." Ryan relented with a sigh, pulling her close for a quick kiss that lingered, tasting of resolve and reluctance. "Fine, but promise me, we come back whole." The drive into the city was a descent into memory lane. The 405 snaking past billboards hawking dreams Elena had once chased. Headshots, script readings, the siren call of "make it big." Her own ambitions had shifted post-transition. Less spotlight, more substance, volunteering at trans clinics where she'd hold hands through HRT consults, whispering, "It gets brighter, I swear." Ryan, ever the anchor, had grounded her. "You're already a star, Elle. The kind that lights up rooms, not stages." Now, as skyscrapers pierced the haze, doubt crept in. What if Alex's venom had poisoned Ryan irreparably? What if their reunion was just borrowed time? They parked in a shadowed lot off Wilshire, Marcus's sedan blending with the lunch hour rush. The plan was simple. Infiltrate Alex's condo via a service entrance, snag the digital ledger Ryan knew hid in a floor safe, proof of the embezzlement that would bury his brother for good. Elena's role: distraction, posing as a lost delivery girl in a borrowed uniform, her makeup dialed up to 11 for camouflage. "You look fierce," Ryan murmured, adjusting her cap. She smirked. "And you look like trouble. Stay sharp." Slipping past the doorman with a fluttering invoice and a batting lash, Elena rode the service elevator to the penthouse level, heart jackhammering. The hall was sterile opulence. Marble veins like frozen lightning, doors whispering wealth. Alex's unit loomed, ajar as if mocking caution. She knocked lightly, channeling Vera Verve's bravado. "Delivery for Mr. Hale?" The door swung wider, and there he was, Alex, disheveled in a silk robe, eyes bloodshot from whatever demons chased him through the night. Up close, the resemblance to Ryan was eerie. Same cheekbones, same tilt to the smile, but twisted, like a reflection in warped glass. "Wrong floor," he snapped, but his gaze snagged on her face, recognition dawning slow and sour. "You, the tranny from the kitchen. What the hell are you doing here?" The slur landed like a slap, but Elena didn't flinch. She'd armored herself against worse. "Package from Seattle," she lied, thrusting the clipboard forward, buying seconds for Ryan to ghost the balcony access. Alex snatched it, scanning the bogus label, suspicion narrowing his eyes. "Ryan send you? That coward hiding behind skirts now." He stepped closer, breath sour with bourbon, crowding her space. "Tell him to crawl back east. Family sticks together, real family." Inside, fury boiled, but Elena played cool, angling to block his view of the hall mirror where Ryan's shadow flickered. "Family? Like the one that steals from kids who look like me?" "Bold move, Alex. Real American dream." His laugh was bitter bark. "You wouldn't understand. Ryan's soft, always has been. Playing hero for strays while I build empires. That money, it was leverage, not theft." "Leverage for what?" "Covering your closet." The barb hit home. Alex's fist clenched, knuckles whitening. For a heartbeat, she thought he'd strike. Visions of hospital fluorescence, stitches from old fights flashing. But then Ryan's voice echoed faint from the balcony. A muffled thud, the safe cracking open. Alex whirled, curse dying on his lips as he lunged past her. Chaos erupted. Elena tackled him low, years of self-defense classes at the Y paying off in a tangle of limbs on the Persian rug. "Ryan, go!" she yelled, knee digging into Alex's back as he thrashed. Ryan burst in, ledger in hand. A slim USB drive glinting like salvation. Face a mask of anguish. "It's over, Alex. The feds have your emails, your offshore accounts. Let it go." His brother bucked free, scrambling up with wild eyes, grabbing a crystal decanter from the bar like a club. "You traitorous little shit. For her? For this experiment?" The decanter swung, shattering against the wall inches from Ryan's head, shards raining like accusations. Elena surged forward, grabbing Alex's arm mid-swing, twisting until he howled. "Enough! You're not him. You'll never be him." Marcus's backup crashed the door then, badges flashing, zip ties snapping like fate's punctuation. Alex sagged in their grip, defiance crumbling to sobs. "We were supposed to conquer this city together. Not this." Ryan knelt beside him, not touching, voice steady as rebar. "You chose conquest over connection, Alex. I chose love. That's the difference." As the cops hauled him away, Elena and Ryan collapsed against the floor-to-ceiling windows, the sprawl of LA unrolling below like a forgiven sin. Sirens wailed distant, but here, in the wreckage of empire, they held each other, breath sinking, pulses aligning. "I thought I'd lost my brother," Ryan whispered, tears carving tracks. "But I almost lost you twice." She cupped his face, thumbs brushing salt away. "Not losing me. Ever." The kiss that followed was salt-sweet, a seal on survival, lips meeting soft, then fierce, bodies pressing as if to fuse against fracture. No grand gestures, just the raw poetry of presence. His hands in her hair, her legs hooked around his waist, tumbling back onto the couch in a heap of limbs and laughter edged with relief. Hours later, ensconced in a real hotel. Not a safe house, but a suite overlooking the Pacific. They shed the day's grime in a clawfoot tub, bubbles foaming like champagne dreams. Ryan traced the tattoo on her wrist, his initials woven with vines. "Tell me about Seattle," he urged, water lapping gentle. She did. The ferry rides to Bainbridge where she journaled letters to him she never sent. The Pride March where rainbow flags snapped like applause for her courage. "It healed me," she admitted. "Made me see that loving you wasn't dependency. It was defiance." He pulled her closer, water sloshing. "And I wrote songs. In hiding. Ballads about a woman who taught me bravery wears heels and hope. They made love then, slow and sacred, exploring with whispers and wonder, bodies a map of milestones. The scar from her top surgery he kissed like scripture, the freckles on his shoulder she'd mapped with lipstick one lazy afternoon. It was intimacy reborn, not conquest but communion. Each touch a vow against the voids they'd braved. Dawn found them on the balcony, wrapped in robes, watching surfers carve the waves. The trial loomed, Alex's arraignment in a week, Ryan's testimony the linchpin. But for now, the horizon beckoned open. What next? Elena mused, head on his shoulder. Ryan smiled, that old spark undimmed. Us, always us. Maybe a road trip, Route 66, chasing sunsets till we find our own empire. She laughed, light as gulls. Deal. But first, breakfast. Pancakes, extra syrup, American as apple pie. As they dressed, the locket caught sunlight on the nightstand, its hearts gleaming. Betrayal had tested them, but love? Love endured. A quiet revolution in the heart of the sprawl. Yet shadows lingered. A call from Marcus that afternoon. Alex had lawyered up, spinning tales of coerced confessions and sibling rivalry gone wrong. Whispers in the press. Tabloids sniffing for scandal, painting Ryan as the villain, Elena as the other woman, in a twisted family feud. Online forums buzzed with vitriol. Freak show takedown. Bro betrays bro for the chick with a dick? The slurs stung, but Elena scrolled past, deleting with deliberate clicks. They're scared, she told Ryan, curling into him on the hotel bed. Of what we represent. Truth over ties. He nodded, but doubt flickered. What if they drag you through it? The transition stories, the old photos Elias didn't burn. She silenced him with a finger to his lips. Let them. I'm Elena fully, fiercely. And you're my witness, not my wound. The courthouse in downtown Ella squatted like a concrete behemoth under a sky bruised with smog. Its steps thronged with reporters' vultures in linen suits. Microphones thrust like spears. Elena gripped Ryan's hand as they ascended, flashes popping like gunfire. Questions hurled. Ryan? Did your twin out you as revenge? Elena? How does it feel to break up the Hale Empire? Security herded them through metal detectors. A cruel echo of that fateful airport beep. But this time, no secrets spilled. Only resolve hardened their spines. Inside, the courtroom hummed with anticipation. Wood-paneled walls echoing murmurs. The judge a no-nonsense Latina with eyes like polished obsidian. Alex sat at the defense table, shackled subtly. His lawyer a silver fox from some Ivy firm droning motions to dismiss. When Ryan took the stand, the air thickened, brother facing brother across a chasm of consequence. State your name for the record. The prosecutor prompted, a bulldog in pearls. Ryan Hale. His voice didn't waver, green eyes locking on Alex's downturned face. Elena watched from the gallery, heart of ice, as he laid it bare. The youth center where he'd uncovered discrepancies in donations. Alex's forged signatures siphoning funds to shell companies. He targeted the vulnerable, trans clinics short on meds, gay shelters turning kids away. It wasn't business. It was erasure. Gasps rippled. Alex shifted, jaw grinding. Cross-examination turned vicious. The lawyer pounced. Mr. Hale, isn't this vendetta personal? Your lifestyle choices straining family bonds. Ryan leaned forward, calm as a lake before storm. My life isn't a choice. It's mine. Alex's crimes aren't about bonds. They're about greed. The gallery murmured approval. Elena's chest swelled, pride mingling with ache. But the betrayal's blade twisted deeper when Alex testified, voice cracking artifice. My brother envied me, always the outsider, latching onto causes to feel relevant. That woman, Elena, she manipulated him, turned him against blood. Lies draped in sorrow, tears theatrical. Elena's nails dug crescents into her palms. Ryan's glance her way was anchor, saying we know the truth. Recess brought no respite. In the marble hall, a cluster of activists. Trans flags pinned to denim. Flanked them, chants low. Justice for the stolen. One. A teen with fresh top surgery scars, hugged Elena fierce. You're why I started T. Thank you. Tears pricked. In that moment, the personal fractured into the profound. Their story not just survival, but spark for others. The verdict came swift. Guilty on all counts. Fraud, attempted murder, identity tampering in a desperate bid to frame Elena as an accomplice. Alex's sentencing was a formality. 20 years, minimum, in a federal pen upstate. As bailiffs let him out, he paused at Ryan's row, voice a rasp. I did it for us, to keep you safe from that. A nod to Elena, venom veiled. Ryan stood, close enough to touch but worlds away. Safe? You nearly killed me. Love doesn't cage, Alex. It frees. His brother recoiled as if slapped, the door clanging shut on fractured fraternity. Outside, rain, rare LA mercy, pattered on awnings, washing the steps clean. Reporters surged, but Marcus's team formed a cordon, ushering them to a waiting car. Inside, Elena turned to Ryan, rain-streaked face luminous. You were magnificent. He pulled her into a kiss, desperate and deep, the kind that erases echoes. We were together. Freedom tasted bittersweet. Back in their Silver Lake apartment, reclaimed from sublet limbo, they unpacked not boxes but burdens. Ryan burned Alex's old photos in the fireplace, ashes swirling like released ghosts. Elena framed the locket on the mantel, a sentinel of second chances. Nights blurred into rhythm. Ryan gigging at open mics, ballads now laced with triumph. Elena expanding the clinic program, grants flowing from the recovered funds. Their love deepened in domestic poetry. Farmers' markets where they'd haggle over heirloom tomatoes. Drives to Big Sur where cliffs met sea in thunderous applause. Yet conflict simmered subtle. Ryan's nightmares returned. Dreams of tires screeching. Alex's face morphing into multitudes. Father, society, self-doubt. He'd wake gasping. Elena soothing with stories of her own dark hours post-op, when mirrors mocked and meds raged. We're scarred, not shattered, she'd murmur, tracing his tattoos. A rainbow infinity on his ribcage, inked the day they met. In turn, he'd hold her through hormone crashes, whispering affirmations like incantations. The climax crested unexpected. A letter from Alex, prison-stamped, arriving like contraband. Ryan slid it open alone, Elena finding him hours later, staring vacant at the page. "Read it," he said, voice hollow. Alex's words. Remorse wrapped in rationalization. "I see now, your love's real, deeper than I feared. Forgive me? For the boy who shared your womb, who lost his way chasing shadows. Please for visits, for redemption." Ryan crumpled it, eyes stormy. He thinks words erase wreckage. But what about us? The months I ghosted you, letting his poison fester. Elena knelt, taking his hands. That's the conflict, love, the pull of blood versus chosen. But forgiveness isn't absolution. It's release. For you. They argued then, voices rising like a tempest. Ryan railing against enabling, Elena advocating grace as growth. Plates clattered in emphasis. Doors slammed in punctuation. By midnight, exhaustion won, collapsing into bed back-to-back, silence a chasm. Dawn brought olive branch. Ryan, brewing tea, extended the letter. "Read it yourself. Tell me if I'm crazy." She did, tears spotting ink. Alex's pain mirrored their own. Closeted terror twisted into tyranny. "You're not crazy," she said softly. "You're human." Right back, "Not for him, for you." Closed the circle. The letter he penned was masterpiece of mercy. Acknowledgement without erasure, boundaries etched firm. "I forgive the boy you were, Alex. But the man you became, that's on you to mend. Our paths diverge. Mine with Elena, yours in reflection. Be better." Mailing it felt cathartic. A stone skipped across still waters. In its wake, their bond burnished stronger. They volunteered together at the youth center, Ryan facilitating, Elena guest speaking on resilience. One evening, under string lights at a fundraiser, he dropped to one knee. "Not with ring, but vow. Marry me? Not for papers or parties, but for the everydays, the fights, the flights, the forever." Tears streamed as she pulled him up, yes, a whisper against his lips. The crowd hooped, but their world narrowed to two. Months unfurled golden. Wedding planning wove whimsy. Vows exchanged on a Malibu bluff at twilight. Officiant a drag mama from Elena's Seattle days. Guests a tapestry of queer kin. Toasts laced with laughter and libations. Alex sent a card, simple and signed heart, his first step on a long road. Ryan framed it in his study, beside Elena's clinic award. Progress, not perfection. Yet humanity's hue includes shadow. Elena's checkup revealed a complication. Hormones clashing with stress. Fertility whispers dashed forever. She grieved quiet. Ryan holding space without solutions. Their bed a sanctuary of, "We'll adopt, or foster, or just be. Our love's enough." His own crossroads. A book deal on corporate queering. Exposing Alex's ilk, but dredging old wounds. "Worth it?" he'd ask, manuscript pages splayed. She'd nod, fierce. Every word, like every scar. Through it, romance rekindled in embers. Spontaneous dances in the kitchen to Coltrane. Picnics where they'd feed each other strawberries. Slow-burn letters left on pillows like foreplay for the soul. Their story, once teetering on tragedy, bloomed humanistic, proof that betrayal forges, doesn't fell. That love, in all its jagged glory, redeems. 2 years post-verdict, the Hale name evoked not scandal but symbol. Ryan's TED Talk on betrayal and belonging going viral, Elena's TEDx on trans tenacity packing hauls from Portland to Palm Springs. They'd bought a Craftsman in Echo Park, its porch swing creaking under evenings of iced tea and introspection, bougainvillea cascading like confetti. Alex, paroled early for good behavior, wrote monthly, letters evolving from contrition to curiosity, requesting a meet. Ryan demurred, but Elena sensed the thaw. One coffee, she suggested one crisp fall morn, leaves skittering like secrets. Test the waters. Foreclosure. The cafe in Pasadena was neutral ground. Exposed brick, folk tunes lilting, sunlight slanting through ferns. Alex arrived early, gaunt in chinos and polo, the polish peeled to vulnerability. Ryan slid into the booth opposite, Elena a buffer at his side. Awkward hellos thawed over lattes. Alex's eyes, so like Ryan's, darted to Elena. You look radiant. Both of you. No edge, just earnest ache. Conversation meandered. Prison's grind, therapy's revelations. Alex owning his internalized hate. The closet's crush birthing bigotry. I envied your courage, Ree. To love open, to be you. I hid, and it hollowed me. Ryan listened, walls cracking. It hurt, your rage, your reach. But I see the boy now, scared under the suit. Elena mediated gentle, sharing her own sibling estrangement. The bridge rebuilt in fragments. By dregs, tentative truce. A hug at parting. Alex's whisper. Proud of you, brother. The ripple transformed. Alex volunteered remotely for the center, auditing ledgers pro bono. Ryan visited biannually, mending not to mirror but to multiplicity. Elena watched, heart full. Their love the lodestar, pulling orbits into harmony. You gave him grace, she told Ryan one night, stars pricking the bedroom ceiling. He traced her collarbone, voice husky. We did. Together. Climax echoed in quieter waves. Elena's clinic expanding to a network. Ryan's book hitting bestsellers. Their adoption journey crowning with Milo, a wiry 10-year-old with Ryan's grin and Elena's fire, rescued from foster limbo. Homecomings were chaos joy. Legos underfoot, bedtime stories blending Ginsberg with Goodnight Moon. Are you my dad's? Milo asked once, earnest. Ryan knelt. We're your family. Labels optional. Elena added, love's the only rule. Yet drama danced subtle. A homophobic parent at Milo's school sparking a PDA showdown, Elena's mic drop speech on allyship going district viral. Ryan's relapse into anxiety on tour, Elena flying shotgun, turning green rooms into grounding grounds. Each trial tempered them, romance a constant refrain. Anniversaries at the pier, renewing Ferris wheel vows. Lazy Sundays where bodies and books entangled, whispers weaving futures. The stunning find from that airport day? It lingered not in locket but legacy. The pouch, now a time capsule on their shelf, holding not just photo but possibilities. What stunned wasn't revelation's shock, but resilience's reveal. How one check unraveled empire, rewove hearts. In America's vast quilt, flawed, fierce, their thread shone. Two men in love? Wait. No, their truth transcended. Queer kin, chosen fierce, proving humanity's best in the breaks. Years layered like lacquer. Milo thrived, out and proud at 13, dating a non-binary artist from art club. Ryan mentored, Elena advocated, Alex faded to fond footnote. A uncle by mail, amends in actions. One twilight, atop Runyon Canyon, sweat slick from the hike. Ryan pulled Elena close, city lights winking below. Remember LAX? That beep, that locket, felt like end. She smiled, wind tousling. Was beginning, of us, unbroken. Their kiss sealed sunset, a vow voiced silent. In betrayal's wake, love's the stun. The heart's defiant beat, echoing eternal. And in that American dream, remade raw, they walk down, hands linked, whole. Epilogue whispers. Milo grown, finds the locket in attic dust, opens to the photo. Grandpa's young, fierce. Their story? He asks his partner, tracing hearts. Ours, they reply. Endless.